Great to have you here. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Now, we bring you some details now as former Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Ibrahim Sani Dara, has dragged investigative journalist Anas Anas to court, accusing him of defaming him through the public screening of the documentary number 12. He's demanding 20 million cedis as damages, as he argues that the publication has put him across as corrupt, fraudulent, crooked, and a dishonest employee of the Ghana Football Association. Now, the documentary, which focused on corruption in football, has so far caused football governing body FIFA to ban the GFA president, Kwesi Nyantakyi, while government is bent on dissolving the association. Lawyers for Mr. Dara, however, believe Anas Anas is well aware that the claims relating to the former communications director are false, yet he published them. My colleague Raymond Aqua joins me in studio. You've seen that particular suit, Raymond. What other reliefs is Mr. Dara seeking? Okay, so I'm sure you've watched the Anas expose, the part of the video which shows him talking to some people who wanted to field a player on the Black Stars, and he's saying that if the player is good, the player may get a slot. Then they try, give him some money, a thank you, then he rejects that. He says, oh, they don't need to give him money for that because he is for the interest of the state and that the team getting better players. He cannot force a player who is not good enough on the team unless that particular player is worth his salt and being considered by the coaches and all the other important stakeholders in there. But he will try to suggest the player to them. Then the consistency comes in when it comes to the money. Then he directs them to give it to the gentleman who was also there. And we understand the gentleman might be coming from the grouping that came with the Tiger Eye team. So when he directed to give it to them, the narration in that conversation was that he was equally corrupted, giving money to field a player or add somebody to the national team, suggesting that that's the practice that he's into. He believes that these words captioned in paragraphs 11 to 19, these words are defamatory. He wants the court to establish that they are defamatory. He also wants the court to establish that they were improperly construed to mean he has done something wrong and that it is unfair to him that that action actually practiced. Then the money part comes in. He's insisting that in terms of direct damages and other forms of damages, he deserves 20 million. And any other cost that the court may be willing to let go of at this particular point in time. The declarations that he also wants that include one that suggests that he as an individual did no wrong. He as an individual conducted himself as an official of the GFA without malice, without having to go through a corrupt practice, without doing things that will offend the law. And if that is established, then the claim being made against him are clearly defamatory. And he wants the court to establish that particular aspect. And Raymond, per the laws, there definitely should be a response from Anas or his lawyers. Within 8 days, they have to respond. The court will set a date. They'll proceed with proper trial when it does happen. Let's be clear. Anas is the first person. Tiger IPI is number 2. And also the Attorney General is the third person that's actually being called into this case as respondent to this particular matter. His lawyer is Dr. Dominic Ayine. I mean, he's a member of Parliament. He's the former Deputy Attorney General. Thank you very much, Raymond Aqua. With details, we'll bring you more on this as the story unfolds. Away from that, the Forestry Commission has turned down calls for relocation of the Kumasi Zoological Gardens despite official admission of years of neglect. The facility located between Kejetia Lorry Terminal and the Center for National Culture in the heart of the Garden City used to be home to over 138 wildlife species. This has, however, dwindled presently to 40, the lowest since its establishment 60 years ago. Ohim Interior has more.
Established to conserve nature and display indigenous wild animals in Ghana, the Kumasi Zoo sits on 1.5 kilometer square land. It offers recreation and relaxation for visitors, serves as a link between wildlife and culture, as well as revenue generator.
Kumasi Zoo is a very important facility because apart from the tourism aspects, the amusement people come to see by seeing animals here, it also serves as a zoological garden. People come to relax under our trees and get fresh air. People come to sit here to transact business. People, after doing their business in the hot city, come here to get fresh air, as I said before. Recently, some students from KNUST did a study here where they measured the temperature inside the zoo and outside the zoo within our premises, and then they found out that there was a difference of 12 degrees Celsius, which is very, very good, which shows that this place is a very, very cool place within Kumasi. This is the only green part that is found in this area.
Adamu is a resident of Ejiso who has been visiting the zoological garden since his childhood days. Now at 38, he brings his son, Audu, to admire some of the animals here.
I started Kumasi Zoo, and I'm 18 years. I just want to say, I cover 38 years.
I started patronizing the zoo at age 18. I am now 38. I visit the zoo from Ejiso frequently. It's never been closed down. I disagree with people who claim the zoo has been shut.
The zoo used to record averagely 100,000 visitors each year before work began on the KJCR redevelopment project. Patronage has since dropped to just over 17,000 a year, which management attributes to depletion in animal species besides the construction.
Before the KJCR project, we were getting over 100,000 visitors annually. It is true that now it's come down because of the KJCR project, where we are getting about 17,000 visitors annually. We have about 7 drains that come into the zoo to join the Subin River. And one of such drains is this one that comes all the way from Konfanoche. It comes with a lot of water, high volume of water. It also comes with a lot of debris. It flows into the zoo. It's caused a lot of flooding here. Year in and year out, the zoo gets flooded as a result of that.
There have been public calls for the relocation of the zoo, as some suggest it has outlived its usefulness.
Yeah, I've been there before, but this current state, I think it's not good. Even though some of the animals are not there, even we went to there for excursion, we won't see anything. But I suggest that we should locate it at Kontinasi, near the lake, so that that place will be nice.
Kumasi Zoo hana ache, and I hand the way I has it here, and some moments of Sanya cry because I have a baby I am Kola.
You can't allow a place to deteriorate to this level. For the sake of children who come here, this place should change. The place looks too old and unattractive.
Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Osafiye, however, disagrees. He says the zoo will neither be closed down nor relocated.
We disagree with people who say that we should relocate it. The merely relocating it doesn't bring the people or the investment that we will need. So that is not the issue at all. Where it is properly situated in a strategic area. You have the Kumasi in the heart of the city, and everywhere that you have zoo or zoological gardens, you have them situate at the heart of the place where people can come and see what we have.
Iwa, the commission says it is seeking partnership support from a Mauritian firm to reinvest in the zoo. John Alote is the Deputy Chief Executive.
One of the key areas that we want to develop is tourism, that's ecotourism, and the Kumasi Zoo comes very handy. We have the Morley, we have the Shire Hills, Kalakba, Bomfubri, and all that place, but we want to develop all of them. Each of them have their own needs. We've done a lot of needs assessment and we know exactly what they want, but we need the necessary capital injection into those areas, and we think that the best way to go about it is to enter into public-private partnership with investors, and we are doing that.
For managers, the zoological garden could better serve its socio-economic purpose if it is given the needed facelift. From Kumasi for Joy News, Parliamentary reporting.
Watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedu. We'll be back with more. Do stay. Welcome back. Now, Eastern Regional Minister Eric Kwache Dafo has urged delegates attending this year's NPP National Delegates Congress to shun violence and vote on the issues presented to them by aspiring candidates. Speaking to correspondent Maxwell Kutako on preparations ahead of tomorrow's polls, he assured the public the party will conduct the polls on issues.
Elections brings politicking. In politicking, you need to have a message. It doesn't matter that you are an old guard. If your message is not good, it's not good. It doesn't matter that you are an upstart. If your message is not good, it is not good. The elections will be won because of a particular message. And the delegates, they have their thinking caps on. Going for 2020 and beyond, what do you want NPP to be doing? How do you want the party to be? So that's what we are going to use as a bottom line. We have an array of experienced, well-exposed, people who want to vie for various positions. And we are going to assess them based on their competencies. They say things can change at the last minute, but people have formed their opinions already. What I want to caution them about is that they should avoid violence.
The Eastern Regional Police PRO DSP Ebenezer Tete says all security measures have been put in place to ensure a violence-free polls.
We are deploying as many police officers as possible. The number is going to be 1,000 for both the Congress grounds, the patrols, the lodging places for the delegates, the very, very important personalities where they will be sleeping, the hotels. We are also going to populate the whole municipality with a lot of police officers who will be conducting both day and night patrols. Snap checks are going to continue to search vehicles and retrieve anything that has been concealed in those vehicles. We also have police officers also mingling with the large crowd that will be coming here. We are expecting 6,000 delegates and 3,000 other persons who are going to be observers. So the huge numbers that we are expecting calls for a lot of things that will go into crowd management and crowd control. That is why you see the anti-riot vehicle, that is the water cannon. There we have 3 of more such vehicles which will be deployed here. Currently, you can see the counter-terrorism units. They are experts. They have been trained when it comes to crowd control and crowd management. We also have the members of the SWAT, the Special Weapons and Action Team. The Rapid Deployment Force officers will also be deployed here. So it is going to be an all-encompassing police operations here, both from the detective point, both from the crowd control points, and both from the management of the situation on the grounds here. Behind you, you can see the various entry points. There will be police officers who will be stationed there, working hand in hand with the national security to scan persons who are going to enter the inner perimeter. So before you gain access to the inner perimeter here, you are going to be properly searched and you will be scanned to ensure that you don't have anything concealed on your body.
Let's head to Parliament now, because the majority is cautioning delegates against voting for candidates who can't work with President Akufo-Addo. Deputy Majority Chief Whip in Parliament, Matthew Nyindam, is urging delegates to avoid a repeat of what happened in Tamale 4 years ago, where some elected executives were eventually forced out before harmony prevailed in the party. He wants delegates to be vigilant and insists allegations of vote buying ahead of the Congress is unfounded. He adds it's normal for contestants to give out money to party delegates ahead of elections. Correspondent Joseph Apukugapu joins us on the phone with more. Hello, Joseph.
Yes.
So what else have you been picking up from members of the majority in Parliament with regards to the delegates conference tomorrow?
So as much as possible, they indicate that as MPs, they are ready to work with anyone who emerges as leader, or for that matter, an executive of the party. So they are staying as neutral as possible from the competition and avoiding declaring support for one candidate or the other. The other interesting thing is that a number of them are in the chamber at the moment, when they've indicated that they are going ahead with a normal business here in Parliament at 2 o'clock. They would go for Vice President Mr. Access 1 week celebration, after which they will then head off to Koforidua to go support preparations ahead of tomorrow's event. But Matthew Nyindam has been throwing a caution out there, asking that party executives and, for that matter, the delegates should put the interests of the party ahead of everything in casting their vote. And they should look out for candidates who would end up uniting with the rank and file and ensure that they're able to work adequately with President Akufo-Addo, so they don't have the situation of what happened in Tamale, where Paul Afoko was eventually forced out along with Kwabena Japong. And they remain hopeful that after this particular competition, the whole party will come together and help them unite for victory going into the 2020 election.
Very much. Joseph Opoku-Gapo bringing us details from Parliament. Joy News is in Koforidua. We'll be bringing you live updates of all you need to know on the NPP's Delegates Conference. Away from that, CEO of the Telecom Chamber, Ken Ashigbe, says the act of assaulting journalists for doing their jobs must stop now. According to him, journalists must give prominence to issues of their own and get consistent with it. He was speaking during a press conference on the police handling of Lateef Idris's assault case.
Because it was dark and in an alley. So we are saying if the person assaulted cannot identify them, then it behoves us to use other means to identify the policemen, which we are earnestly doing. But the assurance is that if through our CCTV and other things we are able to identify the policemen, then the law will take its course. So for Lateef, we are all concerned. We worked with him and will do everything possible to solve this particular problem in order to maintain the cordial relationship between we and the press, unquote. The foregoing transcript of CAP Kofi Boakye's comments makes us wonder about the commitment of the Ghana Police Service in ensuring justice prevail for our colleague Lateef. So the police are telling Ghanaians that all this while they have not watched the CCTV footage. Or are they saying they do not have the footage? And when they want to access the footage? This comments by the Director General of the Police Intelligence and Professional Bureau, PIPS, rather confirms suspicions that when it comes to police dealing with their own, time does not matter. Not to bore you with this old saying, justice delayed is justice denied. We cannot buy into the reasons given for the delay in finding justice. First, we recall events in February 2000 when the police arrested Charles Ebokwansa, a serial killer who was later convicted of strangling 9 women in Accra. Although the Accra Strangler, as Kwanzaa was known, operated clandestinely when the nation was asleep, the police managed to arrest him. We also recall the tragic incident in Ablikuma in or around 2008 when two police general constables, Obusu Seche alias Kweku Ninja and Jerry Wonu alias Tola, were brutally murdered and secretly buried under concrete. But the police managed to find and exhume the bodies of the 2 officers and also arrest and prosecute the culprits.
You heard the GJA's President Afil Moni speaking at that same presser that will bring you details of what CEO of the Telecoms Chamber, Mr. Ken Ashigbe, said later. Now, residents of Ahonjo in Shaiso in Kumasi say they are living in fear over persistent attacks on mobile money vendors by armed robbers. In the latest incident, a female vendor was shot twice in both thighs by armed men who forcibly took money, running into thousands of cedis from her at a nearby pub where she had sought refuge. Nanaya Ojima visited the area to find out more.
On a normal day, the first-class residential area is very quiet except for few shop operators scattered around. At about 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 2 men on motorbike were spotted in what some suspected to be a spying mission. Mobile money vendor Kone, who sensed danger, walked briskly into a pub filled with football fans watching a World Cup match. The suspected robbers trailed her and fired twice in the facility, leaving the lady wounded. Kone is still nursing her wounds amid lots of pain. Despite being discharged from the hospital, she vows never to venture the business after being victim of such robbery for the second time. Kone will not want the camera to capture her face.
I used to wake up at 5:30 a.m. for work, and since the night happened, I get sad when the clock hits 5:30 a.m. I will not go back to do this job again. This is not the first time I have been robbed there. The first one, the people came unarmed. This one, there was. But I don't know what will happen the next time.
Na me wo container ni muna. By no man fay etu amba. Eno moje me bag no na ekoi. And the container ni muna nkasa nisi.
Owner of the pub, who spoke to me on anonymity, says her children, who were there at the time of the incident, are so traumatized they are yet to overcome the scare.
And our train, no, Genesee, no, Kitabon, no, short text. Who's our koto, Virgin and chain to 5 BB Anakawa, 2 Bona and Abon.
One of the guys who were here tried to attack them, but we all shouted at him to stop. He only had a stone in his hand, but the robbers were armed. I have ever since been living in fear. My 13-year-old daughter hasn't been able to sleep ever since. She wakes me up every night to tell me she is afraid.
Though attacks on mobile money vendors, which reached a peak early in the year, went down for some time, they appear to have resurfaced. A notorious robber police described as a lone ranger is suspected to be behind such siege, but he remains a fugitive. Residents here want a patrol team both the afternoons and in the evening to reduce incidents of robbery here at Inshaeso. Reporting for Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
There seems to be positive response to calls by environmental health experts for government and other stakeholders in the sanitation industry to identify more ways of treating and disposing of fecal matter. Some students of Heritage Christian College are using a new innovation to transform human excreta into charcoal. Joy News' Charity Emihills Patels has been interacting with them and filed this report.
What we are seeing here is the dried excreta that the water has been separated. So now it's dried and it's ready for carbonization. What we see here is an Aprotec. This is a towel disposal that we can use for the experiment. Yeah. So we are coming to burn the dried excreta for you to see.
For decades, Lavender Hills has been a dumping site for Accra's raw sewage. But with the establishment of the Accra's first fecal treatment plant, not only is it helping people to keep the city safe and clean, but it's also generating green electricity. To further advance the use of fecal matter, some students of Heritage Christian College are exploring the innovation. Evans Kwachi, Benjamin Nketia, and Austin Cabo are level 200 students.
After burning, you get the charcoal all right, but when you have the charcoal, it's very light and it will be economical for use. Yes, so that's it, we grind it, then we add our binder to it. We have this cassava flour, that is our binding agent. So add it to the burnt excreta that is being grounded. Then we sprinkle some water on it for it to be able to compact
the granules or the powder that we get out of the grinding.
The students have already pitched the innovation on a global stage and won a $15,000 grant to operationalize the innovation.
There is a huge difference. Let me tell you, after burning the excreta, we could have stopped there that we have the charcoal. But at that stage, it's equivalent to or is the same as the traditional charcoal that we have. And very lighter. Hold this. You can hold this and check the weight and ask yourself how many of our traditional charcoal can be put together to get this weight. So it tells you how economical this charcoal is.
The technology, according to the innovators, is a sure way of drastically addressing the challenge of indiscriminate dislodging of human waste into the country's water bodies and save our forest.
We've heard of fertilizer made from human excreta. We've heard of biogas. Today we are learning of another innovation, which is turning human excreta into charcoal. We can also save our environment on the indiscriminate cutting down of trees just for this same purpose. And I'm being told by the team members, this gentlemen who have put this particular project together, that it is highly economical. From the Business Incubating Center here at Heritage Christian College, Amasaman, I am Charity M. Hilbertels reporting for Joy News.
There's currently no functioning ambulance for the Kassina-Nankana Municipal Hospital in the Upper East region. According to its medical superintendent, there was just one ambulance which also served neighboring districts but broke down about a year ago. Since then, health workers rely on a pickup vehicle to convey patients in emergency situations. Dr. Majid Al-Hassan disclosed this at a function to open a renovated children's ward for the War Memorial Hospital at Navrongo. Upper East correspondent Albert Sori reports.
The War Memorial Hospital at Navrongo is the main hospital for the Kassina-Nankana municipality. Like many hospitals in Ghana, it faces numerous challenges. The children's ward of the hospital, which was in poor shape, has now been renovated by Ghana's ambassador to Italy, Paulina Abayage. At a short ceremony to hand over the new children's ward for use, Medical Superintendent of the War Memorial Hospital, Dr. Majid Al-Hassan, said the hospital was inundated with many problems, including the absence of a functioning ambulance.
The challenges we're facing as a hospital are multifaceted. We have challenges for certain numbers of certain critical staff like doctors, anesthetists. The mainstream workers that we have, a good number of them, after working for a while, are always requesting for regional transfers, and that keeps depleting the number of staff that we have. Aside that, we have infrastructural challenges. Ambulance is also another challenge. The national ambulance in the districts is not always available.
The renovated children's ward comes with improved beds, new furniture, 2 plasma TV sets, among others. Ghana's ambassador to Italy, Paulina Abayage, said she initiated the renovation of the ward with support from friends and well-wishers.
It's only appropriate that once in a while I come back home to give back to my community, because this is a poor region, and because of the poverty levels, sometimes it's difficult for things development to go on.
Kassina-Nankana Municipal Chief Executive Williams Adum, while thanking the ambassador for the gesture, emphasized the problem of the lack of an ambulance for the hospital and appealed for help.
As we speak today, there's no single ambulance for the hospital. So anytime somebody is sick and we need to transport the person to Tamale, it becomes so difficult. We have to use a pickup, no oxygen method. So sometimes myself, doctor will be calling, can we get ambulance from other districts to come? By the time they come, probably the condition would have worsened out. So we are still asking for more collaboration, more partnership.
Madam Paulina Abayage also donated assorted items to some quadruplets born to a poor family whom she has been supporting since they were born 13 years ago. Albert Sorry, Joy News, Navrongo.
You're watching Joy News Today. Business News is next.